The devastating earthquake that hit Nepal in April 2015 killed almost 9,000 people and left more than 2 million homeless.
जलाएपछि म भाग्न थाल्थे तर यता र उता लड्न थाले.
15-year-old Bhrikuti is among the thousands of children who saw death and destruction and whose families are desperately trying to rebuild. But the progress has been very slow due to a lack of support from the government. Bhrikuti lives in Sindhupaichuk, a mountainous region of over 60,000 homes that sits between Katmandu and the Tibetan border. It was the most badly hit district in Nepal.
I was terrified about what would happen to us, since the house fell and several people died right near the house. Everyone around us was crying, and it broke my heart to see people I knew who lost their lives.
For 2 years, Bhrikuti has been living in this temporary shelter with her mother and her siblings. The government promised $3,000 to each family that needed to rebuild their homes, but most have not seen any more than a quarter of that. More than 500,000 families are still waiting. But Bhrikuti didn't just lose a home in the earthquake, she also lost her school. The 400 students of Bandevi school have been studying in temporary classrooms for the last 2 years. The classes are extremely cramped and can be boiling hot. Students and teachers find the conditions almost impossible. Repairs have just begun nearly 2 years after the quake, and it will still be several more years before the new building is ready. The story of the Bandevi school is not unique. All over Nepal, houses, schools and hospitals remain in rubble or too damaged to be used. This is Darbar School in the heart of Katmandu. It was the first school ever built in Nepal and is one of the country's most prominent. Although the building is still standing, the earthquake damaged its 100-year-old structure so badly that it was deemed unsafe for students and teachers. Temporary classrooms have been set up in the school's courtyards, but 2 years after the earthquake, students still have to run through unsafe buildings just to get to class. A National Reconstruction Authority was set up to manage rebuilding, but many onlookers say the agency was chronically understaffed and has suffered from poor organization.
What can we do to explain to parents and students when there has been absolutely no progress in rebuilding the damaged school buildings? Students cannot access the library or the science labs since we've not been able to recover most of the things from the damaged building.
So far, only 500 of the 8,000 damaged schools have even started reconstruction. For thousands of children like Bhrikuti, there is no alternative. They have to accept the reality of life after the earthquake in temporary homes and classrooms. Nearly 2 years after Nepal's devastating earthquake, more than 1 million children are starting the new academic year this April in areas affected by the earthquake. Many will be returning to temporary classrooms for the 3rd straight year. In the days after the earthquake, Nepali officials vowed to build back better. But reconstruction efforts are moving ahead at a sluggish pace, and much remains to be done to ensure even a return to the status quo for these children.